Alright, we're talking this leather texture that kind of has this pebbled surface that's been brought out through, a washing technique. This is called Empirical Red Smoked Metallic. So there's a little bit of a shine to this as well. I'm going to focus more on the pebbly texture, and then we can address any shine. I'm going to start once again by doing a bit of an underlayer, and I want to find the right color here. I don't know if it's going to be this goldenrod or this orange. I'm going to quickly swatch here off to the side. The orange is quite orange. Ooh, it's going to be the goldenrod for sure. The goldenrod is just the right cross between brown and orange for doing this. And I'm going to just give a nice even field of the goldenrod. This is the color that's going to peek through any of my pebbling. I'm just going to come across, going back and forth, and clean up the edge a little bit. Alright, so I've given myself a nice even field, and now I'm going to start layering on my colors. Let's find my next lightest. I'm going to go with this Eco line. This one's a deep ochre. It looks a little metallic. It's not. And I'm going to just give myself some stippling in this color. I'm going to try to, when I do my stippling though, almost give it like a little curve shape. And I'm going to switch up which direction that goes every so often. You will also notice that some leathers will have concentrations of smaller texture with concentrations of some bigger texture. Real leather is, after all, skin, and the way that the skin forms together is not necessarily always even, and the little wrinkles and such in there. This would be a great use of a brush tip to stop using the, there we go. This, I don't have a brush tip in the Eco line, but I have a rounder tip that I can do these little pearls. Across the surface. And this is a rather fine texture that I'm achieving here. In reality, what I might end up doing is more of a this size stipple on my drawing, where I'm not paying as much attention and making it as big. I have the opportunity to draw it a little bigger, and what I always think of is when I have an opportunity like this to draw things bigger is that I'm really trying to break down and understand what's going on the surface so that I can try to keep that in mind when I'm simplifying it. What am I actually simplifying? And the answer is these little differently sized, organic, roundish, pebbled shapes. What I'm laying down here is just what's going to end up being my midtone value. So I have my lightest value, which, because this is has had like a metallic surface treatment has ended up in the deepest parts of the leather. And the parts of the leather that have the dye, which are the most raised parts, are actually darker. Normally with a pebbled texture it's the opposite, whereas it's darker and then the raised parts are lighter. But the metallic finish reflects more light. So in that case, if I was doing this the other way around, where I wanted the darker part to be the recessed, I would be more doing the lines and I'd be spacing it out a lot more, trying to leave voids that are in the curvy shape. See how much I can get done. Just for time's sake, I'm going to start doing my next layer so that you can see this build up. And I think it's going to end up being with this terracotta. And so now I'm going to come in on top of this and add in another layer. This time I am keeping my brush down longer and making a larger shape that will blend together things below it. And I'm still trying to leave some of this light peeking through. If I have an area where shine is really shining off of this leather on my object, I am going to not put in my darker values. I'm just going to leave right here, I'm going to leave a stripe that is much lighter. I'm going to come back in with this same color and connect some of these shapes. And deepen up some areas while leaving others in. And now I'm going to come in with, it's kind of a choice I'm making here, but I think I'm going to use this poppy red just in a few places to deepen the color and exaggerate it a bit. I'm coming back in with the terracotta. I'm also going to just try layering this terracotta without the other color in some of these places. See how that looks. Yeah, I definitely like it more with the with that additional, what's it, the umber or deep ochre layered in there too. But I can try a few different ways, honestly, even in the same swatch. As long as I'm working with the same colors, Leather's a pretty forgiving thing to render. Let's put in some more of that ochre. Oh, I have the brush tip. So once again, when we're working with marker, I feel that it's perfectly reasonable to accept a certain amount of stylization. Especially when we're rendering at a nice fine scale. Like in our drawings. I do actually like bringing in this red though. It just adds something quite nice to it. I also have this like cherry that I could try. That is a little bit less intense. I have the cherry, oh I guess it's cherry and then orange. So it's the orange is the more intense, the cherry is the less. Just making these pearls, and I just keep building them up and reinforcing that pebbled shape and texture. So yeah, I think that's about where I would take it as far as trying to get a pebbled leather texture in. If we're coming down to doing something a lot more fine scale, I'm probably just going to give some of the pebbly texture on like the highlights and maybe like a little bit through the mid-tone. And then I'm going to let it, mostly I would just communicate it through the shape of the strokes that I left. So I'd color in the whole shape, but I would color it in a little bit more. So yeah, this is my leather. So this is my and this is the Magnifico smoked metallic. And then outlining.